Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We ain't linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Oh, it is. What do they call this? Is this called Hump Day? I think. I love it. I love it. Can y'all give a shout out for Michael? Michael is the bomb. He is just giving us a round of applause and love because there's a lot to clap for today. This is, there you go, there you go. There you go. For the Facebook audience, we got a lot of cheering. You might want to download that app so you can hear the full show and the full experience, the 910 AM Superstation app. You are listening to We Got Issues. We are coming to you out of California, Chicago. We're coming to you from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, from Ellicott City, Maryland, and of course, from Detroit, Michigan. Although our girlfriend is not in Detroit today, she got a little bit of that taste of that NBA lifestyle, and she is in the heat. Okay, you know she listening in, probably gonna call in, got a lot to say. We know, with your bikini on. So now, you know, she has a bikini on. But this is Caterina Harris Earl on We Got Issues, and we're going to have a really amazing conversation today talking about life reflections, advice that you would give to your younger self. Now, I promise you, we are going to keep it powerful and positive, but it's not just going to be Pollyanna. We are going to break down some of the hardest lessons that we've had in our life, and what I am so blessed to have some amazingly successful girlfriends. And we're going to talk to you today about some of the lessons that we've learned and things that we wish we could have taken the wisdom of today and told our younger self those things, and also some things that our younger self that had that reckless abandon would just take all these risks, maybe some things that younger self would even say to us today. So we are the force of friendship. We're messy, classy, flighty. We are funny, bougie, nosy. Some of us get a little cranky sometimes, lazy, crazy. Okay, and churchy, get excited.
And lashy.
Yeah, lashy. I'm still, can you believe I am still on the no lash? I'm almost back to lashes. Almost. Pray for me. So we are going to bring life, laughter, and lessons. And this is exciting. I don't know. I'm sure you are following us on social media, but did you see that new picture of the force of friendship? I mean, these are some women you want to know. These are some women you want to know. I'm saying I am so glad to be up in here. So I'm going to pass it to my girl, looking colorful with the stripes on today, Sabrina Goodwin Monday. Talk to us. What is happening over there in hot Chapel Hill? I know it's still hot.
It is hot. It's a beautiful day today. It's going to be rainy tomorrow because of Elsa is coming our way. Is that her name? Elsa? I think that's her name.
Yeah.
And Florida got it today, headed toward North Carolina. So we're preparing for winds and rain tomorrow. But today is a beautiful day. It really, really is. Happy to see you guys. Oh, my goodness. Did y'all see our girl courtside? Crisette, the bishop, was courtside. That was a phenomenal game last night. It was so much fun. It was so exciting. I was looking. Oh, my goodness, you guys. They are having a blast in Phoenix. I think they'll be there tomorrow for game 2. But I tell you what, that was an exciting game. She said the energy was electric in that building. And so that was good. If you've never been to an NBA game, you got to go to one. And a playoff game is even 10 times more than a regular season game. And so they're having a good time. She just sent us a picture out there sunning and funning. And so, of course, she's not on air with us, but we certainly miss her. Lots going on, you guys. So sad. Did you guys hear about the Haiti president being assassinated? I mean,
No.
Haiti.
What?
Yes, Gloria. You guys, Gloria tunes into We Got Issues so she can get her daily news, okay? Thank you for being part of our news broadcast.
I do. Too much.
Oh my goodness,
Wow.
you guys, but just tragic. I mean, 1 o'clock in the morning, they busted into his house, assassinated him, tried to take out the wife. She's in critical condition. We know that there's a lot of political mayhem in Haiti. Lots going on there. And so definitely in prayer for that government and those people for their leadership. Surfside condo crash. Oh my goodness. They have now moved the efforts to rescue.
Right. That was a big move.
Yeah.
That was a big move to rescue. That was a big decision. Big decision.
Told the families. Yeah, just told the families. So I think just the reality setting in for those families, you have to hold out hope as long as you can, as much as you can. But then when it gets to that point, you just have to face reality. Sad. So prayers for them as well. The happy news is, oh my goodness, President Carter and Rosalind celebrated 75 years of marriage. I mean, really, you guys, President Carter.
A record. Yes.
Tell us
75 years.
The news. Sabrina is the news.
He is 96 years old, you guys. But what a blessing to be married that long and be able to live and experience that. So hats off to President Carter and Rosalind. Gloria, I know you and Gigi. Babies are at Camp Gigi. You're doing a Zoom. Then you're going over to Queendom. And then you're going to feed someone some Cheerios. And then you go down the water slide. And then you just motivate
crazy. Oh my God, it's been crazy around here. You guys, we are some crazy women that are busy, but all up in it. Thank you so much for the news, Sabrina, because I sure would have missed all the news. I was so busy looking at Crisette in the sun, I forgot to listen to CNN, for real. And that Chris Paul was everything last night, everything. I love seeing people's dreams come true. I really do love watching his dreams come true. For him to get, oh my God, and to see Minnesota fight Milwaukee Bucks fighting for their way. So I love championships. I love the energy. I love the success. So I know that Chris is going to bring us all the energy. Y'all, we got stories. We got issues for real. Yes, I have been knee deep in children, knee deep in family. They went bowling today. The little kids I didn't even know they had this little special lane at the bowling alley. They got a special lane at the bowling alley that all you got to do is put the ball in the lane and push it, and it'll give you a strike. And the kids won. All the little kids came back and won. I said, whatever it takes to win, baby, whatever it takes to win. So they're all excited. It's been hot here in Baltimore, but I'm ready. I'm ready for this topic, Caterina. We're excited about this topic, and we're so excited everybody's here. Y'all need to call in for real. We're talking to the friends. Call in at 313-778-7600, because this is a topic. Go ahead, Caterina Harris Earl, one of the girls.
Yes. Well, I'm sharing with you a little bit of a study that came from the University of Clemson University in South Carolina. And the professor said, if you could travel back in time and give your younger self some advice, what would you say? New research suggests mulling over this question is really, really common. I know it's common for me, but I didn't know how common it was for others. And so people, they laser focused on this, and folks they laser focused on schools as teens and started looking at some results of the survey. So it said one of the most common things that people said is, I would have stopped to smell the roses, and I would have stopped more to smell the roses. Can I read my own writing? It says, it turns out we think about our life lessons a lot, with a third of adults pondering the subject spontaneously at least once a week. The experience can also be really therapeutic. The Child Mind Institute in New York has a hashtag, you can follow it, My Younger Self campaign, inviting people who grew up with a mental health disorder to share messages of hope. Even Oprah Winfrey, at age 65 thinks about what she'd say. And Oprah said she'd tell her younger self to relax, stop being afraid, and to believe everything is going to be all right. So I'm going to share throughout the show some of the most common things that people would say. I asked all the girlfriends to come with what are some of their biggest life lessons or things they would say. And I have to say my number one for myself that I would say to my younger self is, child, understand the power of compounded interest of money and time. That's the number one thing I would say to myself. Seriously, things, unnecessary things of spending money. If you understand the power of compounding your money, honey, because a lot of money has gone through the hands. I would say that to my younger self. I did not say no to credit cards early on in college. And I would swipe them out of my hands to my younger self because it causes you to take longer to get to where you want to be, as well as with your time invested in one area, time taken from another area. And when you compound your time in a particular area, you can become a master, not just a jack of all trades and a master of none, but really laser focusing on becoming the best in my field. So I'm going to pass it to the girlfriends. And I'm going to ask you guys first, what are one of the hardest lessons that one of the things you had to learn the hard way that maybe with the wisdom today, you could have curbed that and not had to have such a hard life lesson. So who wants to go first? Gloria, Sabrina? Okay,
I got one. I got one for sure, y'all. Let me tell you this. This is so true. I don't even know if I've even said this to many people, but when I found out from someone else, they said one of the most important decisions you can ever make is who you marry. And I was named after an aunt, and her name was Gloria, and she never got married. So ever since I knew that marriage was a thing, I always believed I wouldn't get married. So when I got my first chance to get married, I got married, and I got married to the wrong person. And that one decision has been a challenging decision for the majority of my adult life, because I got married very young. I think I was 21 or 22 years old when I got married the first time. And so I heard somebody say that I didn't realize how much that masters everything, your children, your future, how you see yourself, what words are deposited into your mind, how you argue, how you live, your finances, like everything can stem back to that decision. And looking back now, one of the things I would tell myself is stop worrying about what you see in other people. Just because you're named after somebody doesn't mean that you're going to be that person. And I loved my Aunt Gloria. I really did. I was mad at my parents for naming me Gloria, because I was like, you named me after somebody, they never get married, blah, blah, blah. It was a big old conversation I was having. And it was all based in fear. And so I would tell myself that that's the most important decision that you make, and live out loud who you're meant to be. And what other people do has nothing to do with you. Mm-hmm. Yes.
That was high. In this study, that was really, really high. Relationships was high. 3 things. And one thing that came up very high on a man's list is do not marry her. Do, period, not, period, marry, period, her, period. Okay, which could also be him. Under relationships, don't have sex with men until you know them well. Okay, that was high on the list. Don't lose hope in finding someone for you. They are out there. Right. That is really a big deal. So relationships really, really high. And I love how you said that, Gloria, is it really does affect everything. I am so grateful for one of the things I am grateful that I'm glad my younger self could say to me now is it was worth the wait. It was worth the wait. It so was worth the wait. Made some mistakes in relationships, but we didn't put a ring on it. So Sabrina, yeah, but some of them I dated a long time, so you might as well have been married. Sabrina, lessons to your younger self.
Yeah, lessons. Probably my greatest lesson would be, protecting your credit. When I was young, I was so reckless with credit and money. It would go through my hands. you know, when you're in college, they had you apply for all these credit cards, and I was racking them up. I didn't understand. Also, student loans. I signed up for every student loan I needed and didn't need, just because I looked at it as free money. And I will tell you that 40 years later, I still have a couple of student loans that people still calling me about. Like, oh, we just found you. I'm like, what? You just found me? I ain't been hiding nowhere, but you just found me. And so I'm telling you what, you guys, that would be my biggest thing. I know you talked about money and time, but clearly understanding, you know, my mother and father didn't talk to me about the importance of credit and why you should get it and why you shouldn't get it. And so to my younger self is, Sabrina, do your own research. That's not free money. They're going to come looking for you at some point. And so, and so just being responsible, being disciplined to say no, making sure that you don't. My grandmother said, when your income is less than your outgo, then your upkeep will always be your downfall. And that has always been so true. Stop living above your means. Stop living outside of what you can afford. And I did a lot of that when I was younger. I just wanted to keep up with the Joneses. I wanted to carry the designer bag. I was living out loud. Okay. I was living out loud.
Right.
But that was my younger self. So probably that would be my biggest lesson to myself.
And, you know, we are not just talking to our younger self. It doesn't always have to be 30 years ago. Somebody who's listening might say, let me just take those bags I have in the back of my car back to the store right now. To quote a really good girlfriend, she said, don't go broke getting rich. Don't go broke getting rich, you know. And I remember someone else who actually was a friend of our current vice president. I remember her quoting, her father was a medical doctor, and she always knew she would marry well, but her mother would always tell her, marry wrong and you will pay for it for the rest of your life. Like, no, she would say, marry for money rather than for love, and it will be a challenging life. Something like that she would say. And the blessing is that I think she really did listen to that advice. Sabrina, how did that show up in, you know, how did the mistake that you made show up in how you shifted parenting to make sure that your kids don't, some mistakes, I'm sure you just got to let your kids make the same mistakes, but others you can correct them, because when you know better, you do better.
Absolutely. Just in conversation, understanding, and we live in different times now. Now, these millennials, they understand investing, they understand stocks, they have money conversations that we didn't have back then. Right. So it's easier. It's everywhere. Come on the Cash app, you can invest in stocks, you know, so it's in our face. Money conversations. I think back in the day, if you didn't have a whole lot of money, you didn't talk about investing money. And so, but again, that's a falsehood, because you could take 10, 15, 20, 30, $40 and put it somewhere now and make a difference. But absolutely having the conversation with my young adults, letting them know the importance of credit cards. I mean, when the credit card applications come to the house, I'm like, this is for you, but it's in the trash. You don't need it. And the reason you don't need it is X, Y, and Z. So, but they do have to make their own mistakes. And, you know, the personalities are very different. Like, I have a child who's very frugal, very organized, very disciplined. And then I have another child, the money's like water, just where the money reside, wherever it is, okay, it just gonna come to me some kind of way. So you are more free to have those conversations.
This adds kind of to the conversation from yesterday about the importance of where you go to college, the people you're around, to help you in not making some of these decisions. Y'all, we are going to go to break, and we got a lot more to talk about because we got a lot more life lessons. But here's one that a lot of people share to their younger self. Stay in school. Don't drop out of college, no matter how many promotions you get on your job or offers you get. someone said I would tell my younger self to go to grad school in my 20s rather than waiting and then going later, and to finish college in 4 years. A lot of people, I went to school with a lot of people that were on the 5 year, 6 year, 8 year, 10 year program.
Right.
So younger self, what are the lessons to your younger self? Don't even try it. If you are listening, you can dial in 313-778-7600. Thanks for listening to We Got Issues. We are going to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Oh my goodness, you guys. We are talking, what would you tell your younger self? What would you tell your younger self? And so I'd love for you to type in the chat some of your life's hardest lessons. I'd also like you to talk about, not living a life of regret, because we don't want that to be the case. And it's never too late to make some wrongs right. This segment is all about becoming better. How do we become better? How do we reflect on what we've done well, what we could do better? Because if you're not trying to get better in every area of your life, you might as well stop living. So this show, We Got Issues. Trust me, the girlfriends, we got issues, but we work every day to get better, one way or another. So to each of you, how do you get better? What would you do differently? Well, what we want you to know is today is a new day. Today is a new day to get better. It's never too late. What we love about this life is that it's a new opportunity. Every day God gives you breath. Every day you wake up, it's another opportunity to get better. So somebody said not to stay in the shadows, speak up. That's big. Absolutely. I love speaking up, owning your power, deciding that your voice matters, your life matters, that you deserve a life that you design. You don't live the life that your mother designed for you, that your father wanted you to have, that your employer thinks is best for you. You got to stand up, speak up, decide, this is my life. Yep, this is my life. Take God as your power partner and live it to the best of your ability. We only have one life. YOLO, you only live once. Hashtag YOLO. This is what this segment is called. I'm telling you guys, stop waiting and procrastinating for your hair to get longer, for you to lose some weight, for the right man to come into your life. No, you decide today, this is my life. I must take control. Let me change what I need to change and work on getting better. It's a great segment. You guys call in. Call in. We're going back. All right. That's right. This is not dress rehearsal. Life is now. Be unapologetically you. Own your power, baby. You were born originally.
All right, we are back. You are listening to We Got Issues. Oh yeah. There's that applause again. You're listening to We Got Issues, the force of friendship. Thank you in advance for downloading the 910 AM app and listening to us crisp and clear right over there. Some of you are listening on YouTube, some on Facebook, some are old school in the COD, 9:10 a.m. Okay, this is exciting, y'all. There was an article, we are talking today about life reflections, advice that you give to your younger self. And I'm looking here at an article that was in O Magazine where Oprah had a picture of her younger self with herself there. And one of the things as we think about the life lessons that we have is, I also looked at how satisfied are people with their current life, because I think two things cause people to think back to the younger days: when they're really, really happy or when they're really, really not happy. New high. This was February 2020. So, this is kind of before COVID got down. This is February 6, 2020. We were at a new high of 90% of Americans were satisfied with their personal life. The latest, the figures.
What percentage, Caterina? What percentage?
Pre-COVID, 90% said they were happy. That was interesting.
Wow.
It was 88% in 2003. But listen to this. the historical low was 73% was in 1979 as the effects of the year's oil crisis took a toll on U.S. motorists. The 90% is strongly driven based on income, political party, marital status. Those are the biggest factors that determine satisfaction overall. Household income, political party affiliation, and marital status are associated with the largest subgroups, the largest differences of American satisfaction. So who are those people? 95% of Americans who live in high-income households, we're grateful to be in America, who identify as Republicans and who are married say they are satisfied with their personal life. Meanwhile, adults in low-income households are the least likely to say this. And of course, you know, there is a difference. Women tend to be harder on themselves than men. And there's definitely a differential based on race, that African Americans, polled had a different type of a lower satisfaction level on average than white folks. Now, I will say this, post-COVID, Americans, there was another poll that said Americans are the unhappiest they've been in 50 years during COVID. And that was in June. That was in June, just a few months later. And this whole article talks about if you're unhappy and you know it. Wow. I just thought, wow. So many life lessons. And I'm grateful for the lessons that we've learned, because what are some of the just the life lessons that helped us through this COVID period? It made such a difference in like one of them. One of my life lessons is your mindset can shift any situation. This is one of the things that I really know now, and I kind of knew earlier because I was raised in a positive home, blessed to be raised in a positive home, but I wish I had known it even more, that literally I could shift the outcome of things just by having a powerful, positive mindset. And I would not have been able to go through COVID and still have a successful business and so forth if I didn't understand that. So I just wanted to share that. But I want to hear from the girlfriends and pass it again. What's another one of your things that you would say to your younger self? I love Charnay says, own your power, to quote Sabrina. So
today, and I wrote some things down. It wasn't one of my top 3, but one of them was, I wish I had told myself to pay better attention to politics, because after this past year being in the pandemic and so much political news, so much political views, so much political conversation, so much political education, I wish I had a deeper understanding. I mean, I got an education for sure, and I was on top of it, but I just would like to learn, have been deeper. I think that we were so educated in the last several years about politics that had I known even more for longer, I would have been even more understanding, impactful, effective. You know, just I hunger now to be more effective about the political piece, but I didn't have it. And I should have. I could have. My grandmother used to write for the newspaper in Gary, Indiana. She was very politically involved. Therefore, my parents were very politically involved. But I just, I didn't have it like that. And now I wish I had, if I would have write a letter back to myself. That was big. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's huge. That's huge. I was so a part,
one of the top 3. That's so amazing. It's one of the top 3.
Mm-hmm. Understanding the system and how power, because you can have, even when you have that economic power, to understand how the political system moves, it makes a huge difference. I mean, that's so good. Sabrina, how about you? What's another one?
Yeah. Thinking back to being I wish I would have known early on that everybody's not going to love you, and you're not for everybody. I remember in high school being so wanting everybody to love me and like me, and you drama. You just get yourself so caught up, and it strips you of great confidence to be your best self. And so I think we've got to do a better job at telling our young people you're okay, that you don't have to look like that person, act like that person, hang with that group to be accepted. You've got to create your own niche in life, create your own flavor, and be okay with standing out. And we call it being the lone nut. I think young people do a better job of that now than we did. Even though bullying is very big and all of that still goes on, I still think young people have a good grasp of themselves. And I just think that we got to know early on that you're not for everybody. And that's okay. That really is okay. I think so many women from junior high school up into their latter years in life, I am still amazed at some of the conversations I hear women talking about in the hair salon at this stage and age in life, where they are still talking about people instead of productive, powerful ideas. And that is just, to me, a sense of low self-esteem, wanting to be accepted, wanting to have a fit. You know, you're like round and trying to fit in a square hole. You're never going to fit in that square. You're round. So stop trying to fit over there. Go find you shapes over there that you fit with. So I just believe that education is so important, to tell people to have your own identity, be okay with who you be, not try to fit in places that you don't fit. And seriously, self-esteem and confidence at a young age will take you so far. And women suffer. They don't go to school. They don't go after the right job. They don't go after the right man because they don't think their deserve level is there. And it just screws you up. But if you just work on your own self, your own mind. If you don't have a positive environment, create your environment. And this is real. I mean, this is the real deal. I mean, you've got to work on yourself. You can't have somebody else fix you. You got to fix yourself.
That's so real. And I'm glad that I learned that. I was young when I learned that. I remember literally, y'all remember back in the day when we had whiteout. Remember whiteout? I remember learning about, the circle of influence. I mean, one of the things I wrote down, Sabrina, is I learned that I don't always want to be the smartest person in the room, because early on at being young, I prided myself on being smart. And then I realized, you know what, if you're always the smartest person in the room, you're not going to get no smarter. Okay. You're not going to get any smarter with my good English. But it was just really understanding that is so good. So juicy good, Sabrina. That's some good stuff, that you are okay. Another thing for me is the loss of my father. We all have lost parents. It helps you to realize I knew I was strong, but I'm stronger and even more capable than I thought I was. My young self, I couldn't have imagined life without, the most important people in my life and the loss of a parent. In most cases, the advice that people think about, the advice is inspired by a pivotal event like a death or a divorce or something happening, watching a parent go through a divorce, which I experienced that as well. And so can you think about something that happened in your life that caused you to really learn a new lesson in your life? For me, it definitely was the death of my father. So
I have one. I wrote down that if I were to say something to my young self, I would tell myself that dark times don't stay dark forever. And it's a lot of times when you're in your darkest moment that you just cannot believe that life can ever get good again, ever survive again. Nothing will ever be bright again. You will never laugh again. Everything. I mean, I've been there, and I know that many of us have, and most people, I don't think you get to adulthood having not experienced something like that. And, it doesn't have to be what's devastating for one person may not be that devastating for someone else. So you can't judge what takes someone to that dark, dark space. But when I miscarried those 3 babies and mostly the twins at 5.5 months, and the way that it happened, the way I had to sit in the hospital for such a long time, and it was just everything was bright, everything was looking at roses, everything was perfect 1 second, and then within 24 hours it was just the worst. And so now I know that there's always light at the end of a very dark tunnel. It's like always, but sometimes it takes a long, long time. Your definition of long, but I've also realized on a very spiritual level that God is in such control that every time we get disappointed, disjointed, think it's the worst thing ever, there's some form of protection that we may never know what it is. That when things happen that are just so unfortunate, so hard, so horrible, I don't know. And he said, it's not for your understanding. That's one of my favorite phrases. It's not for your understanding. I don't know why. It's not for your understanding. So that's what I would sit and explain to myself all the time. If I could have talked to myself when I was younger, which is great. I decided. Because Caterina, when you were talking earlier and you said people think about that, I don't think about that. I never go through the day saying, I wonder if I had said this to myself when I was younger.
That's interesting.
I thought that was so interesting that so many people think about that, but I don't ever think about that until you asked me to think about it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, and it's interesting when we think about it. I guess when I have thought about it, I always say, I don't want to live a life of regrets. I don't want to live a life of regrets, so let me go do this. I don't want to live a life of regrets, so let me be my best self over here. So Gloria, you're right. I haven't thought about it a lot, but then maybe I do think about it because I've always said I do not want to live a life of regrets. And what would that life look like? I feel bad for people who think life is over, and what we want to encourage people in this segment is today is a new day. Start today, and whatever it is you want to be, do, have, put a plan together and go after it. Because what you don't want to do is get to the end and saying, I wish I coulda, shoulda, woulda. No.
Right.
No. YOLO, you only live once. Figure it out, people. You deserve the best life that you can give yourself. Figure it out.
You could learn from others' lives as well. And as much as I talk about my daddy, he passed away at 67. And I honestly believe I watched him sit on the couch and I watched him talk about all the places in the world he had traveled and his past life. And he was kind of done with that. And you watch people, so many people that define themselves after being downsized out of a corporation, out of being an aircraft engineer. And it happens so many times for men. It happens for African-American men. It happens, at different stages. How many people retire and then they don't have a next, I was trying to remember who I was going to quote. And then I said, I think it was Kitty Monday who said something about when he was on the show that the best match is the one you're in right now. He was saying something about that. Your best day is the days ahead. Clearly. I mean, I think we live a life where we believe that, and that is not necessarily normal. A lot of times I ask women the question, tell me about a time in your life that you felt most successful, and they will go back 10 years. And I could go back to last week. And not everyone lives their life that way. They're talking about it so long ago. How about advice around taking care of yourself? Many people have trouble being kind to themselves. How have you learned to be kinder to yourself, to always know your worth? You kind of talked about that, Sabrina. The world is bigger than you think it is, and your worries aren't as important as you think they are. Don't worry if you look different, feel different from most people. Don't get caught up in difficulties of the moment, since they are only temporary. We kind of did talk about that, but how have you learned to take care of you? Put the mask on you. That's what you have to do. Something goes down on the plane, put the mask on you before you assist others. How have you learned, or did you already know that your whole life?
Okay, so if you ask me, I think it's two things. In terms of self-care, I made a very hard and important decision to master my emotions. It wasn't an easy decision to make. It took a minute to get there, but I knew that mastering my emotions was going to be so critical, because not mastering them had cost me so much pain, so much anguish, so much fear, so much lack of confidence. You know, it just was over and over and over again. Arguments when it wasn't necessary, things I didn't agree with, you know, just bam, bam. So one of them was emotional management. And the other is, I think probably in that emotional management, is I learned to pay attention to what I was paying attention to. You know, I saw, did some work about the power of now with Eckhart Tolle, and Oprah talked about it. And I really paid attention to it. It was some difficult times in my life. And it was like, there's nothing you can do about yesterday, and there's nothing you can do about tomorrow unless you make the best of this moment. And I don't always do it, but it has made a major difference for my self-care, because for me, my self-care is my physical body, you know, my health and my mental situation controlled. Because when I'm not happy, I start eating potato chips. So, you know, it's just candy. I can go to the store, go to gas station and get some candy. It's just not good for me. So that's a big part of it. And travel is another big part of it. But go ahead, Sabrina, what were you going to say? What were you thinking?
Yeah, there's so many thoughts that are racing back and forth.
Right.
So, you know, when you stop and think that this is important, that we take a minute to think about these things. I think many times what the pandemic, I'm so grateful for, did for me was it made me take a pause for the cause. It made me really think about where I was, who I was doing it with, what was important to me. Because before the pandemic, I felt like I was a hamster on a wheel just going round and round and round. And so I'm so grateful, Gloria, that you talked about health. It made you sit down and say, how are you feeling? You know, are you breathing right? Do your knees feel good? Are you getting proper rest? Before the pandemic, we were moving so fast, but I'm telling you, when God stopped the world, it made you think about the things that mattered. And so self-care is so important for one to stop and think, what are your basic needs? Are your basic needs being met? First, you have to identify the needs that are important to you. And then you need to see how those needs can be satisfied instead of just thinking it doesn't matter. I'll catch myself later. No, as especially a mother with young babies, we put ourselves last so many times because it's always about the children, the family, the husband. And so I made a very, very conscientious decision early on in parenting that I was not going to be a mother who just made myself last. Because they all say, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And I remember when I started having those babies and I was feeling like, oh, things are going, I just was feeling last. So then I said, I'm going to start taking walks in the park without the children. I'm going to start having dates with myself without the children. Space, you guys, to breathe, to think, to become. And so I think you have to just put that in the calendar. Self-care is of utmost importance. And if you don't plan for it, it will not happen. And you will find yourself feeling overwhelmed, underappreciated, and on and on and on. So it's just important that you make yourself a priority.
Make yourself a priority. Dream. I mean, just a thing that that I've given myself permission to do is just simply to dream, to put yourself I think that is one thing that my younger self would say to my older self, is to say, remember to dream. Because when I was young, I just, you just dream as big as you can. And then you kind of get caught up in this and you stop dreaming. And I just want to remind all of our listening audience, women, men, boys, girls, whoever's listening in, that you are your younger self today. And so what decisions are you making today? I love thinking about this when it seems like something is happening and it's like, ooh, it's a big deal right then. What difference is it going to make based on how I react to this situation? What difference is it going to make in 10 minutes, 10 days, 10 months? What difference is it going to make in 10 years? Because a lot of things that we put a lot of time and energy into, 10 months from now and 10 years from now, it's not, we would wish that we had not given that as much energy or that we had given it more energy. So I'm very conscious on just one of the good things about my kind of technical mind is I want to be more high touch than high tech. And I'm consciously thinking about what do I need to install in my life? I look at my girlfriends. For example, Crisette is in the chat and, getting married to a minister. I'm so grateful who was pastoring in the beginning that I had examples of first lady girlfriends because I knew I wasn't going to be the traditional first lady, being okay with being me and not having to conform. And I'm just so grateful. I don't think I had that problem necessarily when I was younger, but I've gotten even more free. A lot of people, especially a lot of women, say life begins at 40. When did it happen for you? Have you always, was there a pivot where you just, an age that you got just even like, I'm here, I have arrived. Oprah has talked about that a lot. For either of you?
No,
we
life,
just have
life
felt
has
good
always been
all
a
the
blast.
time.
Life started for me the day I was born, okay?
Exactly. Yeah. These chicks right here are different. I want to talk about career, okay? A lot of people wish that they had made different career choices early on. And a lot of people wish they had made entrepreneurial choices early on. And number one, we want to stand here and say, it's not too late. I'm not even going to say it's not too late to be great because you're already great doing whatever you're doing, I'm sure. But it just to be in an unhappy job situation. I mean, clearly you got to pay the bills, but it's a choice. I think whatever you're passionate about, you can create income from that. So what are some life lessons around your career choice? Was it just easy for you to make that entrepreneurial decision to pursue what you wanted to do? What are some lessons we can give our audience?
I want to give some thoughts on this. I want to say, if I looked at my younger self, that when I was frustrated, when I was angered by some coworkers, that I didn't have to stand for that. I didn't have to take it, that there were always options. And I sort of knew there were always options, but the level of frustration that I went through sometimes because I thought I needed to stick it out. I thought I needed to take it. I thought that I needed to push through. And sometimes that's not the deal. So that was the big piece. But then when I made the switch to entrepreneurship, one of the things I'm very proud of is that I was willing to work really hard to make it happen for me, because I was not in a financial situation where I could just walk away from my job to do my dream. I had to work my full-time job, work my full-time business, and try to find time for myself in between. And it was difficult, but I was super glad that I did that. And I did find the right company. And it did make a major difference for me. But I did sacrifice. I'm glad I did, but it wasn't easy. And the hardest part of it was everybody else's opinion of me. I had so many people giving me their unasked for opinions about what I should do. Funny, none of them people are asking me about it now, but they sure asked about it then.
Can you ask, what have you addressed Carla's question, entrepreneurial question? I had someone say to me to not look for a great income right off the bat because you have to pay yourself last, etc. Is that always the case if you choose entrepreneurship? Gloria?
No, I don't think that's the case. It just depends on what entrepreneurial business you picked. Some, when you go into a franchise situation, you might or might not have to do that. Sabrina's owned a franchise. So it could be that way. It might not be that way. It could be the way where you're going to have to, but some entrepreneurs start out with loans. So they're able to pay themselves and pay their business. I don't think there's one model of entrepreneurship. I know my model of entrepreneurship, but there are several models of entrepreneurship and several ways to start it. And if having money is a big priority, you can select the entrepreneurial business you want as long as it matches your passion. So I don't think that's a fair statement.
That's good. That's good. Y'all, we have a caller. We have a caller. And it is our girlfriend, Crisette. I told you she was calling in. So we are going to go to you, Crisette. We want to hear, I know you got advice. I know you got advice to share. Chris.
I am here. Can you hear me? You can hear me? Okay, great. Well, I'm excited to be calling in. I'm on the other end. And just want to, keep my record that I never missed a show, whether I did on or off. Yes. Probably got the jacket on at the pool. You probably got the jacket on. I am absolutely in a bathing suit. Okay, at the pool. Call again because we got issues. Okay, and I am totally enjoying the show. You guys are good, but it would be a little bit better if I was there. But you know what? I'm listening to the show, and I mean, you guys are just so awesome, amazing. And just thinking that, what would I tell my younger self? I would probably tell my younger self is, what I would tell my younger self is, where you are now is not where you're going to end up. I totally believe in it's never where you started, where you finished. So I think I would have started earlier, trying to look at my gifts and the talents that I had, and not always feeling like other people were better, other people had more than me, because sometimes it's so easy to see the light, to see the gifts, the talent in other people, and then discount your own. And you know what? If you stay there too long, you miss out on so much you could have done with what you were given. And so I often think about, the parable in the Bible where it talks about, the gifts, the talents. The one that received one, I think it was 2 and 5 talents, and those numbers might be off, but you understand what I mean. And how, the one that was given the one talent really did it because I believe part of it was comparison, looking at the one that received 2 and the one that received 5, thinking that, hey, I only got this one. How important is it? You gave more to those people, so mine must not have been important. So what I know for sure in the big scope of life is that God never made a nobody, right? And that all of us are unique. And what I also will tell myself is, you don't know how many people have been assigned to the gift that you have. And when you decide to play small, when you decide that, somebody else is bigger and better because they have this, because they have that, that's really selfish. That's really selfish. And so, that's what I would do. And that's why I really try to encourage, especially our younger people who may feel that way. When I see a light in them, when I see that they're gifted at anything, I encourage them that, where you are right now is not where you're going to be one day. When it all comes together, you're going to be just absolutely phenomenal. So don't let the little things that are going on right now in your life dictate to you where you'll end up. So, yeah, there are conversations I would have, but thanks to God that, I've learned, I've grown. And I will last thing I'll say is that, it's so important, and I don't know, maybe you all said this earlier, even, the people that you choose to hang out with, because iron sharpens iron. And I honestly can say that these are these amazing women, Caterina, Sabrina, and Gloria, have played and have made an impact in my life. Just looking at their lives, not that you cover, but that in their brilliance in their life, that you also have your own brilliance, your own life, and you want to be the best that you can be because God is not a respecter of person. And so, Gloria has a magnificent life. Caterina has a magnificent life. And Sabrina, has a magnificent life. And guess what? It's okay to say, guess what? Crisette has a magnificent life too. Sometimes we discount ourselves because we look at it as, oh, you're being prideful. You know, you stop, be humble. And I'm not saying that you walk around talking about I'm the son, but because of who you are, you can be confident because God told us that we can be confident, not because we did this, but because of what He put in us. So anyway, you're confident. Great confidence. So good. You guys are doing an amazing job.
Chris, thank you. Enjoy. We're going to be looking at your courtside. We're going to be looking for your own TV. Smile, your own TV, girl. Yes. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for calling in. You know, she said,
yourself with people who are ambitious, encouraging, and have your best interests at heart. The importance of having a great team in your life. And wherever you are in your life, if you don't have that, it is say to yourself, I am creating that. You can choose. The importance of staying in your own lane. I've learned so much from you guys about staying in your own lane. You don't have to be good at everything, but you can surround yourself with people that are good at everything. This is huge, y'all. Yesterday, I made a huge mistake. The girlfriends know Sabrina had to call my mama to come find me. I made a huge mistake. But one of the things I've learned is how quickly to forgive myself. I used to take forever. I used to beat myself up. That's so stupid. You should have done this. You got all these alarms. You got on and on and on. How is that going to, what difference is it going to make? 10 minutes, 10 days, 10 months. What difference is that going to make 10 years? It's okay. It's all good. I can't change it. Control the controllables. And it gave an opportunity for someone else to figure it out. And so just a couple other quick things, y'all. The difference between ambition and selfish ambition. I've learned so much about that. Early on, I just wanted me, us four, no more, me. But learning that I'm full of capacity. There's enough for everyone. And that's just really huge. And we would not be doing right to say that a huge lesson is to not be religious and just to have a relationship with God. I think so many other people would say that to themselves. It's just relationship for me, learning to talk to God just like He's my daddy. The things that I don't know, He knows and can have helped me if I could have listened with my 2 ears and my 1 mouth, listen more. It could have made a difference in me not making some of those mistakes. Y'all, this has been a good, juicy topic. You know, we're going to bring it every day on 9:10 a.m. The Superstation. We got issues. Thanks for calling in. Go to our website, go to our social media, follow us, and we will see you here tomorrow, Thursday, July 8th. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Fun show.
That was awesome. Now you know when we miss it, we got to call in.
All right, y'all.
Okay.
Oh, we missed Drea. Drea, I think you're in the back. You are still there. I am sorry. I just got a text right now that you were on hold. So type in the chat. You'll listen to your younger self. So, y'all, we're going to see you. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you for being loyal. Thank you for being here. Thanks for tagging some other folks. Crisette has been listening to the app, the 9:10 a.m. Superstation app. She says it sounds great in the car. So I know some of y'all going to be going on vacation. You might not be sitting ready to watch us on Facebook, but you can listen to that app wherever you are. So download the app and share it with your girlfriend. We will see you tomorrow. We got issues. Bye.
Bye.